Um, the tables could be system tables and user tables. System tables are essentially those tables where information related to the system, some sort of master records are stored in there, right? We will see what kind of system tables are available in ServiceNow and how we can utilize those system tables for various activities, right? Now, user tables are custom tables that
And
you create. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Anura, you are still on the first screen, right? You haven't moved. I just want to make sure.
Yeah, yeah. I'm on the same screen.
Okay, the first page.
Yeah.
Okay.
Before that, do you have an instance of your own? I think rest of these guys have. Ashish and Sam, do you have your own ServiceNow instance?
No.
No, no.
No? So you can get your own ServiceNow instance. You need to go to this site, please, developer.servicenow.com. Register here. When you do registration, log into the system and then request for an instance. Right? There will be a top menu here which says Manage. Within Manage, there will be a instance submenu available. Click on that submenu and request an instance. Okay? So you will get your own instance, which is a developer instance, which has most of the features available for you to practice as a developer, right? You will get some URL like this, right? You can use that URL, log in using your admin credentials that you generate using the developer.servicenow.com website, right? And then you can practice over here, okay?
So this is a. Can I ask you something, Mr. Rahul?
Sure.
So this is your recording. You will have this recording, right? So we can know this link and stuff, just in case. I mean,
Of
you
course,
will
yes.
send us the recording.
Of course,
Okay, got
yes.
it. Thank you.
So I typically keep these recordings on Google Drive, and you'll find your recordings here, right? I can send a link to it to everybody.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So get your own instance because you'll need it. You'll need to practice it. So you know you should have your own instance. Now we were talking about tables. Um, how to access tables? Tables application here in ServiceNow, right? If you want to access the table area where you can go ahead and create tables or look into the existing tables, all you need to go to do is to go into the left navigation pane that you have here. This is left nav pane, right? And this table and tables and columns, there are two modules available. And for both of you newcomers, modules are, modules are like submenus. These are available in applications. So in the left nav pane that you see, these items here, these are expandable items. These are applications, right? And when you expand these applications, you will have different options, menu options available. You can call these options as modules, right? So for
You
you
can
to
call it
access,
as what?
you can call it as module.
Oh, modules.
I'm typing it here for you to understand, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So for tables and columns, all you need to do is you need to go into system definition, right? System definition application, and within system and definition application, you will have these tables, and you will have another one which is known as tables and columns. Correct? When you hit this, a screen will open up that will list out all the tables available in system. These are the tables available in my instance, right? Alternatively, you can directly type tables
Table.
and columns and you'll get it here. Okay, you hit it, you will open the same screen. Okay, now we were talking about tables. Tables in ServiceNow are of two types. User tables.
How did you open a pen to type this thing in, right?
Yeah, when you log onto your instance, this is your
Oh, okay.
concept, right? So let me do it for you quickly. I am logging out. I'll go back to
Okay.
my instance. So this is my instance. I have kept it as a bookmark here.
Okay.
I opened it. So this is my login page for the instance. It will ask for username and password. I provide admin username and password here, and then I try to log in.
When we're creating our own instance, do we create our own username and password?
That creates a username and password for you automatically. An admin username and password. You need to retrieve
Okay.
from the manage instance section.
Okay.
Okay, you can get it there. Now when you log in, you will get this landing page, which is kind of home page for you, right? Within this home page, you have this nav section, navigation pane. Go to this
Yeah.
navigation pane, type in tables and columns, open this up, and you'll have a list of tables available, right?
Yeah.
I'll come back to this, but let's talk about
I
user tables.
mean,
Yeah.
from the tables, did you click anywhere to get to the new place where you are typing, or
No,
you went to?
this is a text editor. This is a text
Okay.
editor. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
This is a text editor. I just wanted to display, show something to you. So I'm using this text editor, Notepad++.
Okay. Not bad. Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Now, user tables are, let's call it custom tables. The naming convention for custom tables will be, it will start from u underscore. However, the system tables will start using sys underscore, which gives you an idea of what table you are referencing right now. It could be a custom table that has a prefix of u underscore. It could be a system table that has a prefix of sys underscore, right? Alternatively, there could be some application tables that you create which are also custom tables, but you will see that there is something like x underscore 1443445 underscore, and then you have the table name, something like that. The custom tables will look like, the name of the custom table will look like this, the system table will look like this. That's a naming convention. We'll see how it how we'll see a couple of tables to see the naming convention, the display table names, and the actual table names, etc. See, tables will have two names. The first one is display name. Other one will be display name, value name, or actual name, right? When you have to refer to the table using scripts or something, you will always refer to that table using the actual name of it, which either starts with u underscore or sys underscore or something like x underscore. Make sense? Let's not
Yeah.
complicate it. Let's go here and see. See, this is a listing of all the tables that I have in ServiceNow instance. Let's go to the first one. The first one says .NET application.
Mm-hmm.
And then within these brackets, I have cmdb underscore ci underscore appl underscore dot underscore net, right? So the display name fits into this area. See, I am picking this text, which is the display text, .NET application. This fits into the display name section here. And the other one fits in, the other one, which is the actual name, fits in here, which is okay. Now see, we talk about custom tables, which starts with U underscore. System tables starts with sys underscore, and some application tables start with X underscore. But then some other applications may also start with their application short forms, which is in this case, which is CMDB. So by having this convention in place, it makes clear that the table that you are using is associated to a particular application, and it makes easier for you to understand which table you are referencing, and the table that you are referencing is associated to what application. Stuff like that. Okay. So this is the simple naming convention that we have. We should be following it while creating tables, so that we have a consistent table structure laid out for us in database. Now let's go ahead and see some system tables. One of the basic system tables that we have is the user table, right? Because when you set up a system, obviously, if it is a user-based system and you are maintaining user records, obviously you will go ahead and create some user tables and store user information there, right? So let's go ahead and refer the user table. I'm into the table area right now, and I'll start typing users. When I start typing users, it takes me to the user area, user table area, right? And we are to talk about the system table, system user table, right? So see here, the display name is user, and the actual name is sys underscore user. Make sense? Now, one thing you might have noticed is whenever I select this table in here, in the left pane, the right pane gets populated. The column names field gets populated, and it shows the tables and the columns and tables associated to this table, right? Mind it, I'm talking about tables and columns, right? The reason I'm
Okay.
talking about tables and columns is ServiceNow tables can be extended. By talking about extended, I mean to say that if you have one table, which is table 1, or let's call it P1. This is a table that you have created already, and it has, let's say, X number of rows, and you go ahead and create a different table, which is P2. It has, let's say, so the first table P1 contains X number of columns. The second table that we are going to create is having Y number of columns. But then when you create this table, you want to have the records, or you want to refer to the columns in P1 table. You want to extend that table into the new table that you are going to create. So if you have that requirement where you want to get records or columns or field values from other table into your table that you are going to create, so that's a parent-child relationship that you are establishing, right? So for those cases where you want that your tables can be extended to another table, and columns from the parent table can be accessed via the child table as well, that's the case where you extend the table, right? And that's why I'm talking about when you select this table here, the sysuser table, it shows to you
Mhm.
all the columns from this sysuser table plus all other tables which are associated to this table, meaning all other tables which has been extended by the user table. Okay? And the tables which have been extended by this user table will appear as a plus button here and with a table
Good.
icon. Table icon.
Okay.
See the building? And before building
Yeah.
you have this table icon. This icon shows that this is a table which is being referenced by this user table. Okay?
Which you can extend,
Yeah.
right?
You can click and expand it and it will show the fields from that building table.
Okay.
Okay? Now, it's very interesting to to know how do you access the columns of the other table, right? And then there is a concept of dot walking in ServiceNow, which says if you have two tables, let's take the same example, P2, P2 extends from table P1 and I'm just defining this in some different way. See, the first table is P1, which has columns C1, C2, and C3. The second table is P2 that contains C21, C22, and C23 as columns, right? So if you have to access the records from this table, and I'm talking about the scripting, if you have to access the records from this table only, you will do something like P1.C1, which means from table 1, you are accessing column number 1, and you will get value from it. But if you want to access the value C21, you can do P1 dot P2 dot C21, right? So you are accessing the table records using dots. You are walking using dots. Let's see. In the user table, if you have to reference to this active field, you hit on this active field and it will show to you sysuser.active, right? This is the element name. See, the element, the qualifying text for this column becomes sysuser.active. If you have to access the business phone, it becomes sysuser.phone, which is the field name. If you have to do calendar integration, you will do sysuser.calendar integration, right? But if you have to access column from building table, let's assume if you want to go to floors, see the change here. It says sysuser.building.floors. Make sense?
Okay. Go go back to the where if I want to access P1, okay. So if I want to access P2 using P2 to P1, right?
Mm-hmm.
The first one, that's from P1 accessing P2.
Mm-hmm.
So if you do P1.C1,
Mm-hmm.
that means you are accessing P1 column 1,
Right.
right?
Right.
But if you want, let's say, C22 out of P2,
Mm-hmm.
then it's going to be P1.P2.C22,
Right.
right?
Right.
Okay.
That's
All
right.
right.
And there are different types of relationships. So we'll go back to see what kind of relationship that we have. We'll go back to that real quick. Any other question related to this? See, there are, the building is also referencing the other table, which is contact here. You may expand contact as well, and from the contact tables you can pick, let's say, the city one, right? Now see the change here. The change becomes sys underscore user underscore dot building. So this is the first table. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
it is the building table. It's the contact table, and within the contact table you are referencing the city field,
Okay.
right?
So Rahul,
Yep.
is this the same thing like in Linux also, right? If you want to go from one place to another, you use the certain commands. It's like a something like that, I guess.
Right. Yeah. And I'll ask you to consider this as a concept of inheritance, right? You are trying to inherit something from your base class, right? So you create objects of your child class, and then you start traversing until you get the information from the base class, something like that.
Okay.
Make sense?
So basically, you are separating the tables until you get to the element by using the dots.
Exactly. And that's why we say
So
it as dot walking.
yeah, the upper table, and then under the upper table, which is sys user, you have a building,
Hmm.
and within the building you have a contract table,
Right.
and then within the contract you have element of city.
Exactly right.
Okay.
Right. Now let's refer to my presentation here. Now table can extend other tables we just discussed. Now to each table, there is one sys identifier field. I'll get rid of these. It's important for us to understand the sys identifier, sys ID, right? This is a field along with some other fields which gets created when automatically when you create a table, right? This field gets created automatically. You don't have to create this field. You cannot use this text sys underscore id as a field name anywhere, right? Because this is a reserved word. You cannot use it. This is a reserved word. Okay?
Okay.
Now, when you create a table, this field gets automatically created and keeps unique text within it that will uniquely identify every record within the system. Okay? Let's
Okay.
quickly go to incident application. For Ashish and Sam, I'll talk about incident application in the later session where I'll do some overview of it, right? But others may correlate this as incident application because they have gone through it. Now see, when I open this list of records here from the incident table, I see all the records from the incident table, and when I right click it, I'll get an option here which is copy sys ID, right?
Okay.
This is the same sys ID I'm talking about. This is a part of each and every table. Each and every
Mm.
table in ServiceNow will have the sys ID, and to each record, a unique sys ID will be there, right? So for this incident record, the first one, if I copy the sys ID, let's try to paste it here. The sys ID would look something like this. Let's go ahead and pick some other incident, copy sys ID. See, each record that we are having there is having a different sys ID.
Okay. So it's unique.
Always unique, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay? We'll come back to the sys ID thing. Now let's talk about, do you guys have experience on Oracle or something? Oracle
On
or
what?
on Oracle DB?
I have a little bit, but
Okay.
that's
So
okay.
within Oracle, if you have to see a list of tables that is available in the schema, what do?
Select from table
Yeah,
where
I think this is what you do. Select star from tab. Tab is the table which contains all of the tables available in ServiceNow in Oracle schema, isn't it?
yeah to see the whole thing, right?
Right, right. So your question could be, you may be curious, do we have any table that contains all of the records of the tables created in ServiceNow? Of course, yes. We have a table that contains record of all of the tables available in ServiceNow. And this table here, in our case, will be sys underscore db underscore object. Okay?
Mm.
Although we don't have to write these SQL statements to retrieve data from ServiceNow tables, right? But this is a table which contains listing of all the tables available in ServiceNow, right? And this is again another system table. So we just dealt with two system tables. First one is sys underscore user, which is user table, and the other one is sys underscore db underscore object, which is the database tables table. Okay? Now there is one very interesting thing. One way of accessing the ServiceNow tables is to go into navigation pane and start typing in tables, or start typing in system definition, look through the tables here, open it. Other way of opening a table only is if you have a specific table and you want to see the records from the table and you want to open it. Other way of doing that is if you know the table name, like in this case we have the sys underscore user table. You go into the navigation pane and type sys underscore user dot list, right? If you do this, like if I go here and do sys underscore user dot list, it will open up the table and display all the records directly. That's kind of a shortcut that you have. Okay, so this is the naming convention. You will have to do table name dot list. Let's go ahead and try to see for sys db object, and I'm going to type dot list. It opens up all the tables available in ServiceNow for me. Okay, now it shows that within system database tables table, I have 2609 tables created already. See, my instance has 2609 tables available here. Come on, come on, come on. No.
me4@hotmail.com.
A what?
AKOTKAR.
Sorry about
A as
that.
in apple?
Yeah. A
Uh-huh.
AOTKAR
AOTKAR
AR. Yeah, 24.
24 at Hotmail.
Yeah.
A as in Apple, O as Oscar,
No.
T like Tom, K as in King, A as in Apple, R like Robert, 24 at hotmail.com.
Yeah, I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you right now in the chat.
Oh, okay. I think I see it. Okay. 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 This
Sorry
A.
guys, my network went off.
Oh,
I'm
no
back.
issues. Thank you. No issues.
Yeah. Can we begin?
You got mine, right?
Yes, I did. Yes.
Mine is I'm up here, JW at yahoo.com. Like that. Is Rahul back?
Yep, I'm back. I'm back.
Oh,
So I was talking about the other way of listing the table and getting the records out of the table is doing table name dot list, right? You can go ahead and type in the table name, which is sys underscore user as an example here, and I type dot list and it will open up the records from the table, right? Likewise, if I go ahead and look into the table of tables, which is sys underscore dv underscore object, and I do dot list, it will show to me all the records from the table, right? The system table of tables.
okay.
Okay, and it right now shows to me that I have 2609 tables available in ServiceNow, my ServiceNow instance. Now your ServiceNow instance may not have this much of table, it may have a couple of less tables because I have created some of the tables here, custom tables, so you may have a different listing of tables there. All right, now so that's one fancy way of going into the tables, and you will find it handy to use it to go into the tables there. Now let's go to the tables section one more time and let's try to create one table. Okay, so let's try to create a employee table here. So for creating a table, what you can do is you can utilize this create table button, right? When you hit this, it will open up a screen for you. Okay, and within this screen you will have several input fields that you need to fill in to create that table. Okay, for example, the label field, which will be the display name of the table, display name as we discussed, right? The name will be automatically populated. For example, if I go and type in employee and I hit a tab button here, it shows to me a table name as u underscore employee. Okay, it automatically picks up the name for that table, right?
Okay.
Now it is asking, do you want to extend this table? Do you want to extend any table with this employee table, right? You may or may not like to do that. Right. Let's go ahead and pick the user table, right? Because the user table keeps record of the employee, record of all the information about users in ServiceNow. See, there is this button and this text box. So this type of control in ServiceNow is known as lookup field, right? You are looking up values from a referencing table, right? So when you do this lookup, you will actually go ahead and find out tables. So there is some qualification that is applied on this one. It is only supplying you those tables which is matching that qualification criteria, reference qualifier. So out of the 2600 tables, you are able to see just 181 tables here. Okay. Remember, in the table of tables, I had 2609 tables created, right? But I'm going to, when I am going to extend this table, only 181 tables are available for me to extend, right?
Okay.
And this is the reason, there could be a reason, because you are the person who decide if the table is extensible or not. If you scroll
Okay.
down a little bit, there's a control known as extensible. If you mark this as extensible, anybody can be able to extend that table, right? If you don't mark this as extensible, this table cannot be extended, okay? So that's a feature available in ServiceNow. Now, now if you are on any form and you want to get some hint about the label that you are working on right now, so there mostly ServiceNow has mostly provided hint for each of these controls. For example, if I hover here, it will say information about this extensible checkbox, which says allow other tables to extend this table, right? So this is a hint available. So if you want to get real-time hint, just hover on the field name and you'll get the hint. For example, for live feed, I am getting flag to determine if live feed should be enabled for this table or not. Okay? If you want to get
What is
info,
the
yeah,
what is this is when you hover through it and you see the information, does ServiceNow have a specific name for calling that?
that's a hint.
Okay,
Hint.
that's all. Okay,
Yeah.
I
And
got it.
when you create your own form, you will be supplying this hint for your users to understand what that field is actually on that application or form.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? We'll be doing that when we design a form. So let's go ahead and find out if we have this user table that I can extend. Oh, it says user table is not extendable. Now there is a, if you have created a table and you have marked that as not extensible, can you change that later on? There should be some way so that you can change the property, extensible property for the table, and you can go ahead and change that and make that extensible, right? We'll try to find out how to do that when we discuss about system properties, right?
Okay.
I'll discuss about the properties in detail later, and then we'll do that. For now, we can leave this as this extend table as blank because this is not a mandatory field. Let's move to the other field, which is application in this case. And you may see here that the application in this case is global, right? Now, you may ask what this is, what application is. So ServiceNow, so this is the same application, but global is a global is the parent level application that you have, the base application that you have, and all the applications that you create. So these are different scopes that you are creating with each application, right? So each of the application that you create will have its own area where things related to the application will be created, right? And we call it as application file, and we also use it as update sets. We'll be talking about it in greater detail later, but you see here, if you go to the top right button here, which is the settings button, settings gear button here, and scroll down a little bit, you will have this application listing here, and you will get a list of applications available already, right? Right now, the application that I am into is global application. So this table record that I am creating is getting created in this global application, right? You can otherwise go ahead and create a new application, choose any of these applications, and then associate that table to it. Okay, this is the list of applications. We'll talk about applications in greater detail later. And to each application, there might have some update sets, right? If I change this global application to, let's say, marketing events application, and I go back, the update set has changed to default marketing events application, right?
Okay.
So this is a way to organize things in ServiceNow. See, when I change this application to marketing events application, Here on the table form, the application changed from global to marketing events application. So always keep in mind what application you are using to create the table or any other record, right? Because if you go ahead and create this table in this application, marketing events application, the scope of this table will be attached to this marketing event application. Okay? So that's used for scoping. What scope you are allowing this table or this component to be attached to, right? If you do marketing events application, the scope for this the table will be marketing events application, which is slightly lower than the global scope, right? And that table will be accessed by people who have access to that application or who can go ahead with that application scope. Okay, we'll talk about scoping as well. We'll see how to create scopes and how to relate those components to scopes, right? But for now, just make sure that you choose appropriate application by picking the list of picking application from the list of applications here, right? Update set here. Okay. Now, some of you who go ahead for Sam and Ashish, who will go ahead and create a new user account, the UI might be different because their ServiceNow is providing two UIs right now. The one that I am on to right now is UI 15, right? I have been using UI 15 for long, so I like this UI 15, so I am using this one. Alternatively, you can have UI 16.
Okay.
It's nothing rocket science. It's just some CSS that you have applied to organize things, and you have changed a little bit layout of some of the components on the page. That's it, right? The core components remain as is, but the look and feel for the screen gets changed. Let's go ahead and switch to UI 16 and see the look and feel for that UI 16 has changed a bit. See the default the application comes up here, application listing, right?
Oh, it's at the top.
Yeah, it comes at the top, and the setting gear button has some different organization, right? So there is a different CSS applied to it, right? And then the layout has changed slightly, right? The user details comes here, which used to come here on the other UI. So don't get confused when you land onto this UI, right? You may choose from different UIs, so UI 15 or 16. I prefer to be on UI 15. Now let's go back to tables and columns. Create table. I'll make sure that I'm into global table right now. I go ahead and pick.
No.
Yep.
Rahul, I have a question. So when we logged in as a user, can we change the, service now to 14 or like 15 or 16? Can we change if you're not as a system administrator?
Yeah, there is one role attached to it. There is one role attached to it. If you have that, so let's try and go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and impersonate one of the users that we create and see. Let's go ahead and pick training user. So Ashish and Sam, we are impersonating here. We are logging as a different user.
Yeah. I used to have that access in my office as a change manager.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, this one seems to be an admin user, so I'll go ahead and pick another user which is not admin. Let's pick this David Lou. This guy should not be an admin. Looks like this one is also an admin, so let's go ahead and pick troubleshooter. This guy is not admin. It is having this guy has ITIL role, but see, switch to UI 15. He does not have here.
Yeah.
Okay. So not all will have that functionality to change the UI. So there is some rule attached to it. I can look through and find out what role that will govern, that will allow you to change the UI. I can find that out for you. Or
Okay.
you may go through the roles here and browse and see if that role is there. There should be one of these 165 roles is there that will take care of that UI changing authorization. Okay.
Okay.
Now let's go back. Tables, columns, create table. Application. Do you want to create a module? Module we discussed about, right? The modules are the sub items that you see here under application. Do you want to create a module for this table? I'm not going to create a module right now because I don't want this table to appear here. If I pick this and I pick the application, this table that I'm going to create will appear somewhere here in this left nav pane under the application that I pick from here, right? I'm not going to do that right now. So that's the information you need to create for a table, to put for a table. Then you have to identify columns for it. For example, if you want to go ahead and put employee ID, go ahead and pick employee ID, pick a type. So you have different data types available in ServiceNow. Out of those data types which is available as a lookup field here, pick one that is most appropriate for you. For employee ID, I can use integer maybe, or maybe I can have custom employee ID type that starts with a string. So you can put a string here. So let's go ahead and pick string. So you have employee ID as a string type. The reference is if you want to reference this column to a different table. So
Okay.
all I'm doing here is I'm double clicking on these individual columns to create a column for this table, employee table. So employee ID will be the first column in the table, right? Think from this perspective. I'm going to create a table. Your table will look like something like this, where you have a column known as employee ID, employee ID. The other one you have is first name, last name, salary or something, right? So
Yeah.
this is the table that we are going to create here. So first I am doing employee ID, type string. Do you want to put references? Yes, you can put references. References will be reference to other table, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. In this case, we are not trying to do that. Let's put one more field here, which is user ID, right? And then you have the max length. For example, if you want that employee, the first name should be 40 characters.
Mm-hmm.
The other one should be also 40 characters. This is, let's say, 10 digits, and let's leave it. Then you have to put this value, the max length value here. For example, if I want to do 10 as the max length, the max length associated for this employee ID will be 10. Do you want to put a default value? In this case, we do not have a requirement to put a default value, so we'll not do that, but you can put a default value in there. And then you have a display field, which is right now false, but this field will be used. See, if I go ahead and use a referencing table, for example, if I pick this asset table,
Mm-hmm.
right, and when
Yeah.
on the form, when I open this asset table, only those columns will be displayed there for which the display value has been set as true, right? If it is set as false, this record, the employee record, the employee column will not be displayed there. Make sense?
Say it, say it again. If I have a reference table,
Mm-hmm.
and if my display is false, then I won't be able to display the employee ID. I will be able to open the table, but it won't show the employee.
It's slightly different. Let me go to the incident form, for example, and on this incident form, I'm going to use caller field. And this caller field is a referencing to some other table, right? It might be referencing to the user table. But when I open this user table, I only see these 4 fields, which is name, first name, last name, and email.
Oh,
Right?
okay.
But from our experience, we have seen that the user table has various number of columns available in it, not just these 4.
Okay.
Name, first name, last name, and email, right? Let's go ahead and see what are the columns into the user field. Sys underscore user dot list. See, there are list of fields available. See, these number of fields available in here, right?
Yeah.
But when we go on the incident form, we reference that table, we only see these 4 fields. The reason is, only for these 4 fields the display value might be true. Okay? So that's the reason you have this display field, right? If you want to display that field on the form, or if you are referencing this table and you want to display this column to that referencing that child table who is referencing this table, right? So that's the value, display value that you have. I'm going to get rid of this asset table. I don't want to reference it right now for this one. Now that we have attached employee ID, I can go ahead and create the first name column. Let's go ahead and put some string value here. String, max length 40 chars, no default value. Let's go ahead and put last name here. String, 40 chars, no default value. Let's go ahead and put salary, and salary could be currency, right? So I'm going to put currency in here, which is the data type available in ServiceNow. Put currency. There is no max length or default value that we need. Other one is user ID, right? So I'm going to put user ID. This will be a string field, pick a string, and I want to reference to user table. Sys user table, right? Okay. So when I open this field, it will, or when I save a record in this table, it will also create a record in the user table, right? That will be interrelated. See, with that, I want to, let me see, I want to discuss this point, which is the first one is parent and child record share the same sys ID. So when you are referencing this table, user table here, when you are extending this table here and you save a record in the child table, that record will also be saved in the parent table, right? And a record will be created in the parent table as well. When you delete a record from the parent table, that record will be deleted from the parent table as well. Okay? So you build that relationship. Now let's go ahead. I don't want this table to be extensible, so I leave it blank. I don't want live feed to be enabled on this. Live feed is some social mechanism that you have available. So, we'll discuss about live feed later, but live feed is a feature that will keep pushing you some information like, some RSS feed that gives you whatever is happening on that table or component within ServiceNow. You can subscribe to that live feed and get to see what is happening with that record or table. Okay? So that's live feed. Now we have created 5 columns here, and there is one auto number checkbox which says use auto numbering to define a sequential identifying code made up of a prefix, a base number and a padding value to ensure a consistent format, right? You can create an auto number. For example, you can create a prefix EMP, number of digits 1000, and number is 1000 and number of digits 7. So it should create an auto number field for you, something like EMP 000, and then you will have 1
Okay.
less 0. So it says that you will have number of digits 7, which is 7-digit employee ID generated, and then you will have EMP as prefix, and then you will have number 1000 as the mid portion. Let's go ahead and make it 10 because we identified 10 here as max length. So your ID will become something like this. Okay, so you can use auto number field here just to make sure that you have a sequence created in table, right?
Yeah, you have 10 digits and then you have 1,000 as a number.
Right.
1,000 meaning
That
what?
doesn't have any meaning. It just keeps a pattern, right? You want a pattern for your employee IDs that you generate, right? You might have a pattern like let's assume that you might have a pattern like EMP, and then you will have, if you have different locations for your organization. For example, you have locations in India and in US, so you might have a system in place for all US employees. You will have
US.
something like this, and for India you will have something like this, right? So it's a way to differentiate and quickly see quickly get some of the important information just by looking at the employee ID, right? So you
Okay.
can create a pattern based on that, right? Now this is ACL, create access control. Access control is one of the security mechanisms available in ServiceNow, and this access control can be applied at different levels. The first one could be application, module, table level, field level, record level, right? So you can apply access control rules at each of the levels, right? For example, I can create access control rules that will make sure that this table is accessed only by those people who have this role, you underscore employee underscore user role, right? So this table will only be accessed by people having this role. If you do not have this role, you underscore employee underscore user, you will not be able to access this table, right? So that's a security constraint that you are applying at the table level. At this level, you are putting a role which will make sure this table is only accessible by people having this role, right? Now, you can also decide if people having this role will be able to read the table, create the table, update or delete, right? What kind of activities these people can do using this role, right? So you have this kind of access control rules that you can establish when you create different objects within the app, within the ServiceNow. Let's leave it as it is right now because we don't want to do this right now. We'll be doing this later. I'm just going to save it, submit it. When I submit it, I submitted it. A table was created named employee. I can get it here, employee u underscore employee. And the columns that we created, there were 5 columns that we created, which is employee ID, first name, last name, salary, and user ID. Right? 5 columns we created. But when I go here, let's count it. Oh, employee ID is here, first name is here, last name is here, salary is here, and then we have
Sys
several other
ID.
columns. User ID is also here, which is a table because we are referencing that table here. So that user ID is also coming. See this user ID, we kept this as a reference to the user table.
Yeah.
So we have this table here, but then we have created by, number, sys ID is automatically created. We have tags, updated by, and updates. So these are some of the default system columns created for each table that you create, right? Number is coming because we kept auto number checked. So for that, we are getting this number field here, right? You can go ahead and get rid of this employee ID and use this number as employee ID, right? If you want, but this will be a auto number field. Let's go ahead and do edit table. If you want to edit this table, just scroll down, keep that table selected, hit this button edit table, and you'll be able to see the table structure one more time in the edit window. And now you will see the columns which are crossed, the red mark here, the red cross, are the custom columns that we created. The rest of the tables are created by ServiceNow. Okay? And to the number column, which is the auto number column, you see the default value, and it is calling a JavaScript global get next object number padded JavaScript function, right? So to make this number as an auto number field, ServiceNow automatically inserted a JavaScript code which will increment the number of this number field whenever a new record is inserted into the table. Okay, so this is a JavaScript written in ServiceNow. If you want to have a look of it, you can go ahead and utilize this search bar here on top right corner. Type that function here and you will see within business rule. Business rule is a component, so it shows to me that get next object number padded function is written within this business rule, and you can see the logic here which is written, right? So the logic here is to increment the number field every time a record is inserted in the table. Let's scroll down and let's see what script it is. So it is having this script. This is a simple JavaScript code that you have, right? That is incrementing the value of the number field there, right? So to make auto number field, ServiceNow is internally using this script so that every time you create a record, it becomes auto number there, a sequence, right? Apart from that, you see here that you have these other fields created, sys ID updated by, updates, user ID, etc. Now let's go ahead and see the view for this table. I can go ahead and do u underscore employee and then do dot list. When I do that, it shows there is no record right now, no records to display because we didn't insert any record in here, right? But see here, only those fields are being displayed that was created by us, right? The rest of the fields are not getting displayed. If you want to display all those fields as well, you have to use this personalized list button. Click on this, pick from the list of available columns. For example, if I want to get created and created by, I'll drag those here and hit OK, and it will bring created and created by columns as well, right? Now if you want to insert a record in the table, go ahead and hit this new button. On this employees table, you have this new button available. Go ahead and hit this new button. See the auto number field. The auto number field automatically brings EMP00010002, right? It was populated automatically. And then you have your custom columns like last name as, let's put it as Rakesh, employee ID is 12345, something like this, and the first name as Rahul, and user ID. Oh, we didn't specify the column for the user ID, so it's not getting the reference lookup field here. But see, the salary is a currency field and it is showing what currency you want to choose. By default, it is showing 4 currency types here. Okay, and then you can put the currency value in here. But it is not looking some nice, right? It is not nice because the first name I wanted to display on the top, right? The employee ID should have come at the first location, first name followed by it, last name followed by it. It's not happening. Can I reorganize these things? Yes, I can. For that, you have to right click on this bar, configure form design, When you right click on this part, you get a context menu. Pick configure, go to form design. You will see this page here where you can quite easily drag drop items. Let's do number here. Let's do first name here, last name here. Let's do salary here, or user ID here, and then salary here. So I want to organize my form like this. Okay, let's organize this by dragging and dropping, and let's save it. Now that I have saved, I have designed a layout for my form. I'll go ahead and reload the form. To reload, you just need to right click on this gray bar, reload form, and then leave. See, the form has been reorganized. I now see employee ID at top, first name, last name, user ID, and salary. Okay, now let's quickly go ahead and put some values. I leave it blank, and I submit it. When I submit it and I go back, a new record has been created for me. Make sense? It shows a new record for this person, Rahul, has been created here having salary this much, and it was created by admin. Created date is this. I didn't supply any user ID, so the user ID is not here. The employee number is this, and you get this record. Clear? Questions? Confusion?
I know that on the display you can also click the you can also click this thing and arrange the labels, right?
Yeah. Yeah, to arrange the labels, you have to do this form design. When you do form design, you will see this design form designer window here. You can arrange the labels. You can go ahead and edit the labels as well if you want to change the label. For
Okay.
example, if you want to do employee IDs, see,
All right.
I put a S here. You can do that, save it. When I go back, I don't have this S here, but I can do reload here, and then I'll see this employee IDs coming in,
Okay.
right? So you can customize these things here. If it is a reference field, for example, this is a, let's go back to tables and columns. Let's go to the employees table, and let's scroll down quickly and edit table. See, the thing that I did wrong is I kept it as a string field, which is wrong. I should have kept it as a reference field, which is a reference data type. I am choosing reference data type, and from the reference data type, I am going to pick table as, come on, user tables, and I'll pick this and I'll update it. Let's go back to u underscore. Let's click this, and now I have this user ID as a lookup field, which will reference to all records from the user table, and it shows that I have
Okay.
573 records, and out of these records I can pick any user as a reference field, right?
Yeah.
And you can update it, right? And then see, this was a string field. Let's go ahead and refresh it for a moment. When I refresh it, now it becomes a reference field. The reference table is user table, and you don't have any default value that you have supplied. You can make it mandatory or read only as well from here. If you want to make it mandatory,
Okay.
hit this, save it, go ahead and create a new record. Some text. See the star mark here, which says it is mandatory.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? So you have to supply
Start.
a user ID here now. Without that, if you submit it, it will not let you submit it. It will say it's a mandatory field you need to fill in. Okay?
Okay.
That's pretty much for today. But we are going to talk about tables and columns in greater detail tomorrow as well, because there is several other things that we need to discuss. So with that, I'll leave it for today, and I'll ask you to practice. Go ahead and get instance of your own. And for rest of all, you have your own instances. Go ahead and start creating tables, and then do whatever we have done today. And we'll start from there tomorrow, and we'll see some of more system tables which are very important, tables like sys dictionary, sys documentation, etc. And we'll see how we can use that. We'll see schema maps and see how to utilize those schema maps, etc. Okay, so we have still some discussion left on the tables. We'll be doing that tomorrow.
So
Ashish,
yeah.
I'm going to send you my number.
Okay, yeah, send me now. Mr. Rahul, so then you're going to how are you going to tell us about the first two classes? Are you
Uh,
going to like have a
See, let's utilize this weekend, either on Saturday or Sunday. After the session that we have with everybody, we can do, let's say, 30-minute session where we discuss all of those basics, right? With
Sure.
you and Sam, and then we should
Yeah.
be good to catch up.
So tomorrow, what time?
The same time, Sam.
Okay.
And then are you going to send us a recording, right, sir, Mr. Rahul?
Yep, yep. I'll send the 3 recordings that I have. I'll upload and send to all. I know I owe that recording to Vikrant and others, the second one. So I'll upload it right now, and I'll send that to all of you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay? Yep. Thank you all. Uh, okay. I'll request you to give me suggestions to improve the quality of this training. If you see that I should be improving something, please feel free to let me know. Please feel free to, stop me and ask questions if you have any. Do not keep doubts with you. Keep questioning, keep asking questions, so that we make the training a better training here. Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a
Thank
good night.
you.
Okay,
You
take
too.
care.
Sam, I have
Hey,
your phone number. Yeah, I have your
um,
phone number.
Rahul, I have a question for you.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
When we create the user, there's an option for the internal integration user, right?
Yeah.
So when we check it, what happens? Like what happens
I
actually
have
when we?
intentionally left that for right now. I'll come back to
Mhm.
do when we do certain stuff. So I'll reserve
Okay.
that
Okay.
right until we reach at that point. Okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
I, Rahul,
Yep.
when, Rahul, this is Sam.
Yep, Sam.
When, when I went to the developers.servicenow.com,